How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Factorio. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. If you guys have, you guys know what to do. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already. And with that, let's get into the episode. So, we went ahead, we made a couple changes to Gleba, and then we've now moved over here to Flagora, where we are trying to get everything set up so that this planet will function with the new recycling center that I have put together here. And I'll show you that here in a moment once my robots... Actually, I guess we can zoom out. So, kind of the plan. Very ambitious, although I suppose for some it may not be ambitious enough. How it works is I'll take you through the specifics of all of the intricacies here. Essentially, it's an upgraded version of the one we're already using with, in my opinion, I think just a better system. Although this system was really only designed for up to rare. But now that we have surpassed that, we are going to need a larger contingency of stuff. And this guy is very slowly doing things. I actually am okay with epic for these for right now. We happen to get epic ones, I think that's fine. But we do need regular lightning collectors. Do we have, or I guess they're lightning rods. No. Let's get 50 of them. We should have 50. Yep. Awesome. Alright. Because the old system, and I'll walk you through all the robots are bringing me stuff. Essentially, raw ore comes in, or the raw scrap, goes down the center belt, recyclers on either side pull the scrap in. That scrap then gets outputted onto this belt, and then about halfway through it gets thrown onto the other side just so we can make use of both belts. And then it goes through our automated sorting system, where everything gets sorted that is potentially on the belt. And then that item either goes into whatever quality it is, and if it's above a certain threshold, it goes into these active provider chests to get thrown into this, our bulk storage. Which, if you couldn't tell, we don't need 338,000 copper wire. So that's some stuff we're going to have to deal with at some point, or just shoot the chest. Yeah. We'll probably upcycle it, actually. We'll throw it into the upcycler, because I'll show you in the new design that it's actually designed to handle that. So anyway, every item, more or less, is in this setup that is going to be of quality that we want. However, because I didn't design this, I took it from my friend who took it from somebody else. I think he found it off the internet. It's not quite what I would like to see. I'm sure it has an intended purpose, and whomever designed it probably knew exactly how to use it. I, however, didn't. So, we designed a new one. So, how that essentially works is same principle. It takes in resources through the bottom, still side inputs here, goes through, about halfway through, loads it onto the other side. So that part, exactly the same. The quality is a little bit different. Now, the part that kind of changes, it doesn't change heavily, but it kind of changes, is we input all the way up. So it goes through like normal, but you're probably noticing we have a lot more chests for storage, and that would be correct. So every item now has all 5 tiers, with the exception of legendary, because legendary being the highest quality, we want an unlimited amount of that, right? Because we don't want legendary to go to waste, because we might need it for something, because essentially the only 2 instances where we ever want anything in this is regular quality, we want some stored, because if we need to make a basic tier of something, and then legendary if we want to make the best version of that thing. Everything in between, yeah, we can have some of it while we're doing the gambling system. Because these things here, these gambling upcyclers, can make use of the in-between quality. Now, I'm okay with storing it. It's not the end of the world to have several chests of these items on hand. Who knows, maybe we'll need it, probably not. But it's whatever, small buffer chest. These guys are going to pretty much store to infinity in a bulk storage area, and then notice, this is a much smaller quality area. Well, that's because these are only the items that are coming out of the scrap directly. So these recyclers down here on the bottom are only ever going to be using scrap. They're never going to get these items back into them. It's essentially I can't speak. A one-directional valve. So scrap comes in, gets recycled, then it goes into here. Now, any item Whether it's missed because the inserter was too slow or something, or because this chest is filled, well, it's going to bypass, and it's going to go up instead of back down. Now it's going to go through a secondary run of recyclers. Now, this is where we have upcycling, because if an item makes it through its storage down here, that means either the chest is full, which if it is, okay, go upcycle it and make it into a better quality of itself. Or it just means that for some reason it got skipped, but either case, go upcycle it. Now, the way the upcycling circle here works is it's very much the same as the other area and kind of below. Is it prioritizes the recycled material, so new stuff does get stopped here. Because we want to make sure that the output always stays clear, because otherwise it can jam. So then, we put in new stuff, but notice, it's spaced out more. The reasoning for that is, what we have here is it's going to take in whatever material is of lower quality, it's going to go into this big buffer chest, and then we have a decision to make. If it is less than legendary, go back through. It's going to get recycled yet again. If it is legendary, go into our storage system, because there's no reason to keep trying to recycle it other than destroy it. So, any item, with the exception of these three items, iron plate, plastic bars, and copper, these three items don't come out of scrap. They come out of intermediates that come out of some of the items, like low density structure, that breaks down into things like plastic and stuff. Gears break down into iron. We want those. We want those of quality, so that's why there's some additional storage here. Otherwise, it would literally just filter back into itself on the belt. But this can be expanded, of course, if there's ever any other items that you're running through a system like this. You could expand it to include those intermediates as well. So, those items then get filtered, right? Same process as before. If it goes through, it's going to bypass back down this outer belt, come back in, and inject itself until it becomes legendary. Now, these items here are potentially going to be items that are things that we may or may not want. So, like, all the different qualities. But that's why it outputs here, goes in, recycles itself, and then it keeps going until it makes it into a legendary. So it essentially either, for instance, those 300,000 rare copper wire, they're either all going to get destroyed or they're all going to get turned into legendary. It's kind of a nice sync of things with this. And then we have 10 of them, because why not? I want a lot of capacity. Considering our current capacity is 5, we're going to be doubling how much we're able to recycle. But we're also, notice there's a lot fewer recyclers, but that's because these are of a higher quality, so they have a higher base crafting speed. And we do need to, of course, get all the quality modules, so we need to go through and actually build out all of this. Problem is, a lot of this is still on the ocean, which I've been slowly trying to make sure we get on top of. Oh, we have these. Yeah. So we're going to be using a lot of roboports, because the roboports are the primary mode of transportation here, and we want to make sure we have adequate coverage and charging of things. So that's going to be one of the things we need to work on. But right now, the main focus of today is going to be setting up the rail input. So, over here we have our small buffer with these little train stations, which these are essentially going to be the same train stations we're going to be using over here, but we have to figure out a way to design it so that we can have a lot of them down on this section, and then they're going to route upwards, more or less. So because of all the inputs, we have 10 of these recycling facilities, 2 inputs each, so we have 20, and I don't think there's a balancer for that. I don't think there's a 20. There's a 32. We probably just do 210. That's probably what we'll do. So, we'll probably split them in the middle, which means each one of these guys is capable of housing 4 belts each. Oh, that doesn't make math easy. That makes math hard. Okay. Actually, no, it does. 4 is a factor of 20. Never mind, I lied. Okay, so that means we essentially just need 5 train depots. And then just have enough trains so that they never go empty is the big thing. And then we just have to make sure we signal them properly. Okay. So, let's start with just extending out this guy. Like so. Okay, and we'll stay under the lightning thing so we don't get zapped. And then, obviously the question becomes, we want a stacker so that the trains don't get stuck anywhere. And because of how big the grid is, so we know we're going to need 5 trains. So let's actually just go ahead and grab this stacker and we'll modify it. Although, where can we modify it that's not going to have robots building it by accident? Probably... Also needs to be in radar range. Probably up here. Okay, so this currently has 6. We need 5. So we're going to want to take this and essentially double it. Like that. So that's going to give us 12, if I'm not mistaken. Right, 3. I want to make sure we're not in the middle of a rail. Okay, yeah, so that gives us 12. So that gives us essentially 2 replacement with 2 additional. I'm going to take 2 off. So that allows for each depot to have up to 2 backup trains ready to go. Oh, come on. Really? I don't really want to do that. Alright, let's remove these 2. Because I am almost fairly certain that we can do that. I think that's good. We may have to connect something when it's actually placed. Same thing down there. Okay. This should be a large enough stacker for this. So then we need input here. And then we'll put each of the stations essentially right here. So we do need to mine this ore. Alright, let me place the blueprint on my hotbar. Okay, so we're gonna need pretty much all of this cleared. So that does mean our inventory is gonna fill up, but that's fine. And it's a fairly small vein of scrap that I know we talked about last episode, so that should also be fine. And then, how close can we get? Something like this. So we can get to about there. I'm just trying to think of how to design it, right? Because obviously we want the stacker so that they don't have to travel super far going in and out of where they need to. Is my only thing. So let's see if we can do that. Because we're going to want the trains to come... They need to go down onto the ground and then back up onto this rail. Essentially. Oh, I need lightning collector. So we don't die. There we go. Yeah. Well, let's do that. Let's drop the rail stacker here. Okay. And then that still gives us plenty of room to mine this without any issues. Let's get the robots to place all this stuff down. And then Seems like an extra... Yeah. Yeah, so then... Essentially something like that. And we need to know about how long one of these are. I think it's about that long. Might even be a little less. I need a train to go into here, but there's no trains. Oh, there's one. Come on, go into the one that I'm measuring. Thank you. So we need it to be... We could probably get away with that long, but let's plan for 15. So basically right in the middle. And then we'll place that there just for right now. And then... Okay, we don't have any mining drills on me. Okay, and then we need... Oh, we don't have any on us. Let's throw down a chain signal. That looks fine. Okay. Actually, we don't need this path. At least I don't think we do. So we can delete the bottom one. Because trains are never going to really continue. I mean, unless we were to connect it up to then connect with this down here. But actually, we could probably shift this whole thing up once we get rid of all of this to allow for a cross. And then do production stuff down here, maybe? I don't know. We'll leave it like that. And then... Yeah, robots... Actually, yeah, we don't have anything to build up besides the rail, so that's fine. Alright, let's go get some mining drills, which I'm hoping we have up here. Come on, robots. Charge faster. There we go. Let's head over to this side of the base. Oh, crud. Okay. Did not mean to do that. I still want these things. Nope. I don't want this. Clear my inventory, robots. Do your job. There we go. Alright, well, they're slowly clearing my inventory out. Let's also request... I don't know if we have them. These? Do we have any up here? Oh, we do. Perfect. We probably don't need too many, so let's do 100. And then... we'll have to get more stuff. Oh, and then one of the things... I think I'm planning it here. So I want to do a overhaul of what was the nuclear ship to become Big Bertha, as what I'm going to need is a lot of platforms, but the platforms are kind of bottlenecked. Or I guess the foundations are a little bit bottlenecked. Part of it is by the amount of stone that we need, because it needs like a lot of stone compared to everything else, at least. So what I'm probably going to do is set up Big Bertha to house this many legendary cargo bays, which is going to haul most of the stone, which from our giant stone storage here is almost full. Actually, is already backing up on one, which is not good. We have like 2 million stone. That many cargo bays are going to be able to move about 500,000, so we're going to move like a lot of the stone to Aquilo. It's going to be quite impressive, but that's one of the side projects I have kind of in the works. Now that we have these, okay. So probably what I'm going to do is in between episodes throughout the week and stuff is we're going to try to get more of the trains and things all set up here on Flagora, so that way next week we can hopefully start to get this worked on along with more foundations and ideally get some of it maybe turned on, at least on the bottom part, to start processing some of the ore. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button if you haven't done so already. And with that, I will see you guys all in the next one. Have a good one. And as always, peace out.